Welcome back to A1 Storyteller, where we bring you jaw-dropping, spine-tinkling tales that leave you questioning what you know about the world. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss another mind-blowing story. In today's gripping episode, we bring you the story of a young woman whose life was turned upside down when she was falsely accused of a crime she didn't commit. A black girl from a small town in Georgia, Jada Williams, found herself the target of a wrongful arrest by the police. But what she did in that courtroom would leave everyone speechless. Hold on tight, because this story will shock you, entertain you, and make you think twice about how quickly things can change. Jada Williams had always been the kind of woman who knew her worth. Born and raised in Milledgeville, Georgia, a small town where everyone knew everyone else, she prided herself on her independence. As an aspiring artist, she worked hard to build a name for herself, selling her paintings and sculptures to locals and visitors alike. She was known for her radiant personality, her creativity, and her ability to make a difference in her community. People respected her. At least, most people did. It was an ordinary Tuesday when everything changed. Jada had stopped by the local convenience store just a few blocks from her apartment. She had walked in for a bottle of water and a snack after a long day of work in her studio. The store was quiet, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows on the dusty shelves. She grabbed what she needed and went to the counter to pay. But just as she was about to step out of the store, she noticed the flashing red and blue lights outside. She didn't think much of it at first. Maybe someone had been speeding or there had been an accident. But before she could reach the door, a uniformed officer entered, his eyes locking onto her immediately. "Ma'am, I need to ask you some questions," he said, his voice flat and authoritative. Jada frowned, confused. "I didn't do anything wrong," she responded, trying to keep her voice steady. The officer's eyes hardened. "You were seen leaving the store without paying for a few items. We've got a report of shoplifting." Jada's heart sank. "I paid for everything. You can check the receipt." The officer ignored her protest and stepped closer. His partner, a younger officer, appeared at the door, blocking her exit. Jada could feel her pulse quicken as she was surrounded. "What's going on?" she asked, trying to remain calm, but the fear was evident in her voice. "We need you to come with us," the officer said firmly. "What? I didn't do anything," Jada's voice cracked. "I'm not going anywhere until you check the security footage. I have the receipt in my bag." But the officers weren't listening. They quickly placed her in handcuffs, and before she could comprehend what was happening, she was shoved into the back of the police car. As they drove to the station, Jada felt a cold sweat break out across her body. Her mind raced. This wasn't happening. Not to her. She hadn't done anything wrong. Jada spent the next few hours at the police station, her emotions a mixture of confusion, anger, and helplessness. She was told she'd be processed and brought before a judge in the morning. Her lawyer, Alan Morris, had been notified, but he wouldn't be able to make it until later that day. The media had already picked up on the story. Headlines blared, "Local woman arrested for shoplifting, police say it's a clear case." Jada's face was plastered all over the news, her reputation already damaged. She hadn't stolen a thing, but the town's perception was changing. She could already hear the whispers. How could she, a young black woman, possibly be innocent? The arrest made her feel as though she were being punished for something as simple as walking down the street. Her entire life had been reduced to the judgment of strangers, and she could see it on the faces of everyone she encountered. The suspicion in their eyes, the discomfort in their voices when they spoke to her. It was as if in their eyes, she had become a criminal by mere association. When Alan arrived, he was livid. He had worked for years to become a successful defense attorney, but nothing had prepared him for a case like this. He had to admit, though, that he hadn't been sure how to handle it either. The police had such a solid case in their eyes, a witness, security footage, and a clear story of a woman caught in the act. The trial date arrived quickly. The courtroom was filled with tension, the air thick with the weight of Jada's case. As she sat behind the defendant's table, her hands shook slightly. Alan had assured her that they would prove her innocence, but there was no way to predict what would happen. The prosecutor, Dennis Carver, was a seasoned lawyer, known for his no-nonsense attitude in the courtroom. He presented his case with ease, showing the jury the security footage, the witness statements, and the testimony from the officers who had arrested Jada. Everything seemed to be stacked against her. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we have a simple case here," Carver said. "A young woman caught red-handed stealing from the store. The evidence is clear. The officers did their job and acted in good faith. It's time for this defendant to be held accountable for her actions." Jada's heart sank as Carver continued to speak. Every word he said made it seem like her fate was already sealed. But then Alan stood up, his calm and composed demeanor filling the room. "Your Honor, I implore you to consider the facts," Alan said, turning to the jury. "My client, Ms. Williams, was wrongfully accused. There is no evidence, no concrete proof that she stole anything. The security footage is unclear and the witness testimony is unreliable. This is a case built on assumptions, not facts." The courtroom was tense. Alan's words were firm and convincing, but Jada could feel the weight of the prosecution's case bearing down on her. The jury had already formed their opinions, and it would take more than just words to convince them otherwise. The shocking twist. As the trial continued, Jada's frustration grew. The more she listened to the lies and half-truths being presented, the more she felt the injustice in the room. It was one thing to be accused of a crime, but it was another to be dismissed as a criminal without a chance to defend herself. Then, something happened that no one saw coming. The defense had called for a recess, and as the room emptied for a break, Jada stood up suddenly. She had been sitting there, listening to the trial unfold, but in that moment, she couldn't take it anymore. She needed to act, to make them all see the truth. "Your Honor, I have something to say," Jada's voice rang out across the room, cutting through the silence. The judge raised an eyebrow. "Ms. Williams, this is highly irregular. You're not on the stand." "I know," Jada replied calmly, "but I need to clear my name. I can't sit here and let you all believe I'm guilty when I'm not." Everyone in the room turned toward her. The prosecutor, Dennis Carver, narrowed his eyes. The judge sighed, but motioned for Jada to continue. Without warning, Jada reached into her purse and pulled out a sleek silver badge. She held it up high for everyone to see. "This badge," Jada said, her voice steady and clear, "is my CIA badge." The room fell completely silent. What a turn of events, right? A CIA agent? Jada's bold revelation turned the entire courtroom upside down. She was not just some ordinary woman accused of shoplifting. She was a highly trained government operative. This shocking twist has left everyone speechless, and it's only the beginning of the truth that's about to unfold. What happens next? How will the prosecutor respond? And will Jada's true identity be enough to prove her innocence? If you're as stunned as we are by this revelation, make sure to give this video a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to A1 Storyteller for more unbelievable stories. Who knows what kind of wild twist we'll bring you next time?